Over the past 2 months, viewers, Egypt has signed 4 defense agreements with 4 different African countries. Some of these countries are Ethiopian neighbors. What is Egypt up to? Is Egypt trying to encircle Ethiopia? Is Egypt trying to isolate Ethiopia? Or is it due to growing Turkish influence in the Horn of Africa, in the Red Sea, in the Gulf of Aden? What is the real game which Egypt is up to? Firstly, viewers, in March, Egypt signed a defense agreement with Sudan. High-level Egyptian military officials visited Khartoum, capital of Sudan, and there a defense agreement was signed. The next month, in April, Egypt signed a pact with Uganda. This pact is about military intelligence sharing. The same month, Egypt signed an agreement with Burundi. This agreement is also about military cooperation. Then just a few days ago, Egypt signed a pact with Kenya, which is about defense cooperation. And after that, one day before yesterday, Al-Sisi, president of Egypt, visited Djibouti, Ethiopian neighbor. And in Djibouti, Al-Sisi warned Ethiopia against taking unilateral actions about under construction Ethiopian dam. Djibouti, Kenya, Sudan, all are Ethiopian neighbors. Is Egypt trying to encircle Ethiopia? Secondly, viewers, we are seeing military maneuvers involving Egyptian and Sudanese forces in Sudan. What is the name of these military drills? Guardians of Nile. These military maneuvers have been named Guardians of Nile. So the name is clear enough to indicate that these maneuvers are being conducted in the backdrop of controversy over Ethiopian under construction dam. Egypt is trying to put pressure upon Ethiopia, no doubt about that, viewers. Egypt is trying to isolate Ethiopia, but it is also concerned about growing Turkish influence in this region. Just 2 days ago, Turkey offered to mediate between Ethiopia and Sudan to resolve their border dispute. Turkish Vice President Fuat Oktay was heard saying that Turkey was ready to mediate between Ethiopia and Sudan. I'll show you a clip in which Fuat Oktay, Turkish Vice President, can be heard saying that Turkey was ready to mediate between Ethiopia and Sudan to resolve Fashaga dispute. Egypt and Turkey are very bitter opponents, I would say. We have seen that in Libya. Both were on opposite sides. Turkey backed GNA, government of Fayez Sarraj, previous Prime Minister of Libya. And Egypt backed General Haftar of Libyan National Army, LNA. At one point, Turkey and Libya were on the verge of a war. So Egypt had announced that if Turkey and GNA tried to cross red lines of Sirat and Al-Jufra, Egypt would militarily intervene in Libya. So they were on the verge of a war. We have seen that in several other developments that Egypt and Turkey are mostly on opposite sides. And Egypt is concerned about growing Turkish influence in this region. Turkey has a very large military base in Somalia. Turkey wants a military base in Sudan as well. Turkey signed a deal for a military base in Sudan with previous Sudanese ruler Umar al-Bashir. But then a coup occurred in Sudan and the deal could not be finalized. And Egypt also played a role in stopping Turkey from building a military base in Sudan. So, Egypt is trying to contain both Ethiopia and Turkey by signing defense agreements with Sudan, Kenya, uh, Burundi, Uganda, and Djibouti as well, viewers. Lastly, we have a good news from Somalia. Just a few weeks ago, Somali government and opposition forces were on the verge of a civil war in Mogadishu, capital of Somalia. Negotiations between Somali federal government and federal member states had failed about how to hold next elections. Then lower house of Somali parliament granted 2-year extension to Farmajo, president of Somalia. Opposition rejected this extension. Opposition mobilized armed groups in Mogadishu, capital of Somalia. Then Farmajo stepped aside, viewers, and Hossein Roble, Prime Minister of Somalia, was assigned the task of leading talks about next elections. Hossein Roble has done a wonderful job, viewers. Yesterday, an agreement was signed and announced between federal member states of Somalia and federal government of Somalia. In the next 60 days, Somalia will hold indirect elections. In each state, viewers, elections will be held in 2 venues. 30% quota for women has also been allotted. Both opposition and Somali government, they were present in yesterday's talks and when this agreement was signed. A very positive development, viewers. Though upcoming elections in Somalia will be indirect elections, not one person, one vote, at least Somalia is out of the danger of a civil war. Somali politicians have resolved their dispute on their own without any foreign intervention. That is why it is a very positive development, viewers. Lastly, viewers, watch a video clip showing what Oktay, Vice President of Turkey, offering to mediate between Ethiopia and Sudan to resolve their border dispute over fertile lands of Fashaga farms. I think for watching.
Değerli konuklar, Türkiye Cumhuriyeti Cumhurbaşkanı Yardımcısı Sayın Fuat Oktay ve misafir Sudan Egemenlik Konseyi Başkan Yardımcısı General Sayın Muhammed Hamdan Doglo salonumuzu teşrif etmişlerdir. Arz ederiz.
Stratejik önemi haiz Afrika boynuzu bölgesinde barış ve istikrara tehdit oluşturan mevcut ihtilafların diyalog ve uzlaşıyla çözülmesini samimiyetle arzu ediyoruz. Bölgenin önemli bir ülkesi olan Sudan ile komşusu Etiyopya arasındaki El Fashaga ihtilafına da bu açıdan yaklaşıyoruz. Dost iki ülke arasındaki bu ihtilafın barışçıl yollarla çözümü için arabuluculuk yapmaya hazır olduğumuzu bir kez daha teyit ediyoruz.